The ancient Egyptians worshipped over 1,500 gods and goddesses, making their pantheon one of the largest and most complex in the ancient world. These deities ruled over natural and social phenomena, from the sun and the sky to fertility, death, and even abstract concepts like truth and justice. Unlike the gods of monotheistic religions, Egyptian deities were neither all-powerful nor all-knowing. Their power was greater than that of humans, but they had limitations. They could survive fatal wounds, be in more than one place at once, and affect people in visible and invisible ways, but they still needed to be cared for. At the center of the Egyptian belief system was a concept called Ma'at. Ma'at was the goddess of truth, justice, and cosmic order. She was often depicted as a woman wearing a feather on her head. Her feather was used in the famous weighing of the heart ceremony, where the souls of the dead were judged. A heart lighter than the feather meant the person was righteous and could enter the afterlife. Egyptians were expected to live according to the principles of Ma'at, which involved honesty, fairness, and moral integrity. It was central to law, governance, and personal behavior. The gods were grouped in different ways. The most ancient known grouping is the Ennead of Heliopolis, a group of 9 deities including the sun god Re, the air god Shu, the moisture goddess Tefnut, the earth god Geb, the sky goddess Nut, and the major deities Osiris, Isis, Seth, and Nephthys. Another important grouping was the Ogdoad of Hermopolis, which embodied the inchoate world before creation and consisted of 4 pairs of male and female deities. Perhaps the most important god in the Egyptian pantheon was Amun-Ra. Amun was originally a local god of Thebes, associated with the air and the hidden one. Over time, he merged with the sun god Ra, becoming Amun-Ra, the most powerful deity in Egypt, considered the king of the gods. The massive temple complex at Karnak was dedicated to him and remains one of the most visited monuments in Egypt today. Then there was Osiris, the god of the underworld and judge of the dead. According to myth, Osiris was a king of Egypt who was murdered and dismembered by his brother Seth. His wife Isis reassembled his body and resurrected him, allowing them to conceive a son, Horus. Osiris was represented as a mummified king with green skin, symbolizing death and resurrection, and the cycle of the Nile floods that Egypt relied on for fertility. His cult was one of the most popular in Egypt for thousands of years. Isis was the wife and sister of Osiris and mother of Horus. She was one of the last of the ancient Egyptian gods to still be worshipped, with her cult spreading across the Roman Empire. Isis was the goddess of magic, motherhood, and protection, often invoked for healing and protection. Her devotion to Osiris and her magical powers made her one of the most beloved and feared goddesses in the Egyptian pantheon. Horus was the god of kingship, the sky, and protection. He was often depicted as a falcon or as a man with a falcon's head. According to the Osiris myth, Horus was raised to avenge his father's murder. In one tradition, Horus lost his left eye fighting with Seth, but Thoth healed it. The right and left eyes of Horus were associated with the sun and the moon respectively, so the loss and restoration of his eye gave a mythical explanation for the phases of the moon. Seth was the god of chaos, violence, deserts, and storms. He was the murderer of Osiris and the enemy of Horus. His appearance is a mystery to Egyptologists. He is often depicted as an animal with a long snout and squared ears, but no such animal is known to have existed. Some scholars believe he is a mythical composite. His role was ambivalent. He was both a villain and a supporter of the king. He represented the disordered aspects of the ordered world. Anubis was the god of funerary rites and the protector of the dead. He was usually represented as a jackal or a man with the head of a jackal. The association of jackals with death likely arose because Egyptians would have observed jackals scavenging around cemeteries. In the Old Kingdom, before Osiris rose to prominence, Anubis was considered the principal god of the dead. He conducted the weighing of the heart ceremony, in which the heart is weighed against the feather of Ma'at to determine whether a soul is worthy of entering the afterlife. Thoth was the god of writing, wisdom, and the moon. He could be depicted as a baboon or an ibis, or as a man with the head of an ibis. He was believed to have invented language and hieroglyphic script. In the judgment scene, Thoth weighed the hearts of the dead and reported the verdict to Osiris. He also healed Horus's eye and served as a scribe and advisor to the gods. Ptah was the creator god of Memphis, associated with craftsmen and builders. He was represented as a mummified man wearing a skullcap. His wife was Sekhmet, the lioness goddess of war and disease. The famous architect Imhotep was deified after his death as a son of Ptah. Some scholars have suggested that the Greek word Aegyptos, the source of the name Egypt, may have started as a corruption of Hwt, the name of one of Ptah's shrines. One important goddess was Bastet, the cat goddess of protection, fertility, and childbirth. In early periods she was depicted as a lioness-headed woman, but later she was shown as a woman with the head of a domestic cat. Her main cult center was Bubastes in the Nile Delta, and annual festivals for her were some of the largest and most joyful in Egypt. Hathor was the goddess of love, beauty, fertility, and motherhood, often depicted as a cow or a woman with cow's ears. She was also associated with the afterlife, known as the Lady of the West. More temples were dedicated to her than to any other goddess. She was also the patroness of foreign lands and minerals like turquoise, which were won from the desert. Sekhmet was the lioness goddess of war, destruction, and disease. She was the consort of Ptah and one of the many forms of the Eye of Ra. She was both destructive and violent, capable of warding off disease, and she protected the pharaohs who led them in war. The goddess Ma'at was the personification of truth, justice, balance, and cosmic harmony. She was considered the daughter of the sun god Ra and was associated with Thoth, the god of wisdom. She maintained the order of the cosmos and society, ensuring that chaos did not take over. And those are just a few of the most important deities from ancient Egypt. The pantheon was vast, and each god and goddess had their own unique personality, characteristics, and realm of influence.